Welcome to the Illini Drive here on WPGU 107.1. I'm Jamal Collier here on this a gloomy Monday. We just had this great weather all weekend, and now definitely just a kind of damper on it with this weather here, the rain and the clouds and the not sun. But we're here. The cure for boredom and mediocrity. Illini Drive is back. We thank you for joining us here today on your drive, possibly home, or maybe you're joining us on UPTV. That's Wednesday night at 9. We thank the good folks for putting our ugly mugs on the television. You can always follow us on the Twitter. That's at Illini Drive, ILLINIDRIVE. Follow us there for your sports updates all week long. We've got Darshan Patel, who's a crazy mad tweeter. He's going to be tweeting out questions for you during the show. We could possibly hear your tweets read on the show. We'd like to hear your input on things throughout the week. So go ahead and follow us, interact with us, join in the conversation. Conversation with myself, Nick Fortin, Torrance Sorrell, and Elliot Sill. Guys, I am excited for a fun show here today.
I mean, we're talking about, you got opening day for baseball. You have All-Star Weekend, but it's spring football season.
Yes, because those are all on the same level.
That's why the rain is coming down. Yeah. God. Like I said, a big show. We got to talk about that spring football game. We'll talk a little bit about the Bulls as well and their playoff chances and some postseason basketball. We've got Kelly Kroll from Comcast Sportsnet. She's going to be calling in to the show here in actually a couple of minutes here around 6:10. And she's going to help us look at some Chicago sports world with the Blackhawks and the Bulls and the Cubs. But guys, it's been a while since I've seen some of you guys. I wanted to know, how you guys doing.
Yeah.
And here it comes here.
Okay. You've been gone for a while.
I've been gone for a week.
And yeah, well, it's 2 weeks since you've been on the show.
Sure.
And 2 weeks ago we were prepping for the Final Four.
Yeah.
Which I won.
Last for the NCAA tournament.
I want to know what your response is to your performance in the bracket challenge. I don't know if you checked. You placed last.
Yeah, this was the worst performance of my life. in every bracket I've ever done, I've never finished. I finished last not only with you idiots, but I also finished last in almost every pool that I did. I think I finished next to last. And so I do the same bracket in like 3 different pools.
Yeah, I did that too.
Yeah.
I also fared terribly.
And did absolutely terrible. And Torrance Sorrell is the winner. See, first of all, I'm an honest person. When I make a mistake, I come out and I admit it.
Or now, you say that Darshan doesn't count, and then you say that you
come out and make by the rules. I admit my mistakes. Now I've made my one mistake for this year, so now this is it. You guys are going to enjoy this now on April the 14th because now the rest of the year it may not happen again. So, but Torrance Sorrell winning the bracket. Congratulations. He is the Illini Drive reigning and defending bracket champion. Now this bracket, all this shows to me, if you won this, it means you know absolutely nothing about college basketball because if you predicted this crap, then you're an idiot. You're insane or something. So, congratulations.
I'm waiting on a trophy. Are you going to give it to me in credit or debit?
No, there is a trophy, and I meant to look for it, and I've kind of forgotten about that. So it's tucked away in a box or somewhere. I'll have to attempt to get that to you. If not, I guess I'll just keep it.
Have you been forgetting about it or repressing it? I don't.
Be a little both.
It's definitely both.
It was definitely a fun NCAA tournament. There's been a lot of fun things happening in sports just kind of recently. Not only here in Chicago, but at national level too. Sports is fun.
Yeah, it's March. March and April is the best time to be a sports fan, I think. Well, one of the best times. You got NBA and NHL playoffs kicking up. You got baseball getting underway. So a lot going on, and obviously with March Madness, great conclusion. Congrats to UConn. We 3 of us predicted. I know Torrance and I predicted UConn to win, right?
No, I said Kentucky.
Oh, you said Kentucky. That's a bummer.
Okay.
Well, I said UConn, and I was correct.
I just laughed.
Because people wanted to make comparisons Shabazz and Kemba. I wasn't buying them, but man, it's hard to deny that performance last week.
And just for the record, I had UConn losing in the first round. So there you go.
They almost did. Almost did.
Exactly, and I'd have been a genius. We've got Kelly Kroll on the phone line. She is a reporter, anchor, does a little bit of everything at Comcast Sportsnet Chicago. Kelly Kroll, can you hear me?
I sure can. Hey, guys, how are you tonight?
Hey, Kelly, how are you? This long time no talk, huh?
Yeah, I know, and I'm going to be honest, right about now with the snow coming down again, I could take some San Diego weather.
Oh, my God. It's snowing in Chicago right now? It's still raining down here.
Yeah.
Oh, it is snowing in Chicago now.
Oh,
I
my
actually
God.
pulled over to call in because I wasn't even going to try to drive it.
Oh, my God. Well, I met Kelly, as she kind of mentioned there, in San Diego this past summer. And first of all, she was a great help to me, as I was never afraid to ask her any questions when I was roaming around the Padres locker room. I was young and stupid, but she didn't make me feel that way. I still am young and stupid.
No, quit.
But she really helped me. So, Kelly, thank you for joining us here today.
Of course. I'm glad I could do this. Yeah, I'm kind of moved back here. I'm from the Midwest area, but I moved back in October once the Padres season came to a close, and I quickly transitioned into taking in, live, eat, sleep, breathing all Chicago sports, and it's been pretty awesome this winter.
You're spending most of your time with the Cubs now. Kelly, God bless your heart for that, having to watch them every day. Obviously the Cubs are still rebuilding and kind of going towards something in the future. But what are some? Do you see any reasons that fans should get excited still for this team right now?
Well, I mean, obviously, Cubs fans are just so great, so patient and passionate, and
Yeah.
I think we all know the storyline to being really excited about the guys that are in the farm system. And for anyone who followed spring training closely, they got to see what guys like Javier Baez and Chris Bryant. And I know we saw Chris Bryant when we were in San Diego because he was still there at San Diego University, and we kind of knew what talent he had. But now seeing him at the next level, it's impressed me even more. But I also, we felt like when we were in clubhouses, you can feel kind of what the guys thinking and what they believe in terms of their, I guess, success can be.
Yeah.
And that's always, to me, an interesting dynamic because fans on the outside, even, coaches and other people on the outside looking in, don't always know that aspect of things. They see the X's and O's, they see the numbers, and they see what's happening on the field. But what can happen within a clubhouse with guys just deciding they're going to do certain things is really incredible. And I don't know if it's just that there's a lot of young guys in this Cubs clubhouse or what, but
Yeah.
there's so much of this, why not? Why not this year? Now, granted, they've lost a lot of close ball games already, but instead of what I'm hearing, and I wasn't here last year, but instead of feeling the same way that they did last season, these guys believe that they're right there. And to me, that's enough to think that fans should maybe be a little excited if they can figure it out and they can, get the pitching and hitting all to come together. You may see them string together a few, ball games and win some series. But again, I think when you see that Jeff Samardzija has come out and said that he expects to be traded down the stretch, things like that are hard. So this may be just one more year of rebuilding, and Cubs fans will just have to hang in there, I guess.
Yeah, one of the things, I've been kind of excited about this team, or kind of allow myself to get excited about is, they're getting beat, but then they'll come back the next day and they're still taking people to extra innings. They may have a league late, then blow it, but it doesn't seem like they then come out and quit the next day. They're still really kind of battling.
Exactly, and you and I both were around Rick Renteria in San Diego, and Ricky, I feel like that's just kind of his mentality. He's such a bubbly, positive person who, he wants these guys to go out there and play hard every day and try and have fun with it, because somewhere along the lines, all of these guys played this game because they loved it. And I don't, sometimes that can fade when there's a paycheck and a lot of pressure on the line. But I feel like Ricky has brought that back into the clubhouse, and a lot of these guys are having fun out there, and they're all competitors. Nobody wants to go out and lose every day. Nobody.
No.
And especially young guys, So I think your Anthony Rizzo's and a lot of the other guys, you're going to see them go out regardless of what happened the night before, and it's a clean slate every day, and you're going to see them playing hard. So I don't know. I'm still interested. Again, maybe it's because I'm new and I haven't been around this team, and they're
you don't know any better
of
yet.
course what everyone expects from them. But I'm still listening to them and believing that, okay, well, you know what? They believe they have the talent, so we'll see.
Yeah. We talked about Rick Renteria because you obviously covered him the last season. What are some of your impressions on him and just kind of the job that he's done so far here? And of course, it's still early.
Yeah, well, I mean, just from what I'm hearing, especially a big reason he was brought in is his communication skills. And you hear the young guys, especially the Spanish-speaking guys, which is something Rick can talk to them in their native tongue. And I know right away, just Wellington Castillo has talked to me about how that has been so huge for him. And we've watched him now take a pretty big step, I think, this year in terms of his communication with his pitchers. And I think a lot of that has to do with Rick being able to talk to him and explain and express to him in more than just English. Like if he says it one way and Welly's kind of like, okay, I think I get it. Rick might try saying it a different way in Spanish, and then all of a sudden you see something click. And I know that a lot of the guys appreciate that, and they appreciate the fact that he's bringing every day this positive, energetic, just personality to the ball field every day. I think a lot of the guys were like, yeah, we'll see how long this lasts,
Yeah,
some
exactly.
of the guys that have been around for a while, but I think that he's almost kind of surprising them, that every day, he's not necessarily like getting upset with them, but rather just being like, okay, that's not good enough. We got to have better. And he finds a way to sort of spin it in a positive way and hopefully get some production out of them. So I've been really impressed with what he's done thus far, just hearing what the players think about him. Now, granted, he still has a lot of questions to answer.
Sure, it's early.
And the fans are going to want to see results, and that's something that only time will tell. So we'll see. But I know you know him as a person, and just the same here, me watching him come out here. I know I'm pulling for him. I'm pulling for success for him just because I love seeing great things happen to great people and people who have earned it. And if anyone earned, that skipper position, it was Rick Renteria. And so I'll definitely be anxious to see how all of this plays out. Once he gets some of these guys up and gets to put his, touch on everything and learns them. Because like you said, it's still very early in the season. So he's still kind of learning what lineups he likes with certain, facing certain pitchers. So that's all still pretty new for him.
Yeah, and like you said, it couldn't have happened to a better guy to get hired. So we're definitely rooting for him.
Right.
Last question as far as the Cubs go. I was kind of interested to hear, since you're coming kind of from the outside, fans were outraged, and probably the great word about this Clark the Cub and the mascot being named. Were you surprised at kind of just the backlash that got, or what was your kind of thoughts on all that?
I absolutely was. And again, like you said, I am on the outside looking in, but I couldn't believe there was such a backlash about a map about a bear.
Yeah, exactly. a nice bear for kids.
And I guess the reason why is because I understood what they were doing from a marketing side. I feel like all of us should understand. I mean, the ballpark is supposed to be a family fun environment, and that was not necessarily directed to like the people our age going there just hanging out with friends. That was for families. That was for parents who have young kids who can't sit still through an entire ball game. So hey, take them over to Clark the Cubs playhouse and let them like run around with this mascot while they get to watch the game a little bit and have some fun. And to me, I thought, what a great idea. But again, I guess not everybody felt that way. So
yeah, Cubs fans are an interesting breed.
It's a bit surprising. I didn't realize a mascot could cause such a ruckus.
Yeah, right. I want to go to the Bulls here a little bit too, and obviously they're going to make the playoffs here, and they're kind of battling for that third or fourth seed. Would you rather see the Bulls settle into? I'd make the argument they should probably get to the 4th seed because you avoid Miami kind of as long as possible, assuming Indiana wraps up the 1 seed. But what do you think about the Bulls as far as seeding wise? You say, hey, they're going to play whoever.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think the 3 seed is kind of what they want. I think last night was and we've seen the quote from Noah and other people just saying it was a golden opportunity they let slip through their hands. I think that was a bad loss last night. But they have, they have the chance to win out here, and they can hope Toronto loses in order to get that 3 seed. But, I'm kind of with you. I guess I was with the Oklahoma City Thunder when they made their run to the playoffs, and it's one of those things, the 3 and the 4 seed, you got to win, at that point in those rounds regardless. So if you want to advance. So it's like, I'm kind of just at the point where, okay, let's do this. They're going to play who they're going to play, and they're going to have to match up well. And the most important thing is that they're playing good basketball. And before last night, winners of 6, 7 in a row, whatever it was, I think they feel good about the way they're playing. Their defense wasn't good enough last night. I mean, that was the first thing Severo said. But I think they like where they are at in terms of how they are playing. And that is what's most important, I think, moving forward. And whether it be the 3 or the 4 seed, I think they're going to be fine in the first round, truthfully.
How deep a run can this team really make? I mean, obviously no one kind of expected them to play this well and be in this position. It's surprising.
I know. If you'd have asked me this back in, I don't know.
When did Derek go down? October,
November, I would have been like, they got no shot.
Exactly.
But to watch what they've done without Derrick Rose, the way they've come together, to see the way DJ Augustine's kind of turned his career around here, it's been really incredible. I don't know to ask, when you ask how far can they go, I don't know if they are physical enough to beat the likes of some of the teams they, could see down the stretch. I just think Indiana and Miami are a whole nother level above the rest of the Eastern Conference. I'm sure fans don't want to hear me say that, but that's the truth in my opinion. I see the way Indiana and Miami plays, and when they play each other, it's a whole nother level of basketball in terms of the physicality and the pace at which they play.
Yeah.
So, but who knows? Like you said, I mean, a team can really get hot, but it's not really like March Madness,
No.
It's not like college where one team just finds it all of a sudden and there they go.
Yeah, it's not a one game.
I mean, when you're playing best of 5 and 7, it's a little different. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, one thing that would help the Bulls is Carmelo Anthony.
Don't you think?
Yeah, So is he coming here? Can you give us that scoop right now?
Oh boy, I wish I could. If I texted it, no, I'm kidding. I totally would not. I'm joking. I don't know. Listening to our analysts that we have when it comes to like Will Perdue and Mark Schanowski, I think most people just believe that he would be leaving way too much money on the table in New York to come here, realistically. But then again, you hear him say that he's done with the money. I don't know how true that is, but it's more about winning now. So, I don't know if he'll be able to. I don't see it happening. But boy, would it be fun to watch him and some of those guys play together.
Yeah, it's fun to sit back here and kind of speculate and hope.
Right. Who wouldn't want him out here?
Yeah. Kelly, you got time to talk about the Blackhawks really quick?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's do it.
Because I'm worried here. They obviously haven't been playing
against.
Yeah,
that's a matchup that I'll be honest, I'm so excited about because I
as a fan
to a couple of them, and I'm obviously new to the hockey and rivalry. All the markets I worked in, there wasn't an NHL team, and so the Blackhawks are kind of the first one I've got to cover closely. And what a great team to get to be behind. Fans just love them. They're great. They're great to work with. I will say it's a good group of guys. And when I saw them play the Blues, I just was like, wow, this is awesome. Like the level of the rivalry and all this. And so to see them get pitted against each other in the first round of the playoffs, which again, like you were saying with the Bulls, wasn't really expected. The Blackhawks weren't supposed to fall into the 3, and St. Louis, same with them. They were supposed to be better, but my thoughts on it are that they're actually hitting the Blues at maybe the best time they could. I mean, this is a team that's really stuttered down the stretch, and they've got a lot of guys injured. I think they have to be wondering, how physical can they really be? But I do think the Hawks have to take one in St. Louis.
Yes.
I just think one of those first 2 games they really need out there because you definitely don't want to be going back.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Have you heard about the health of Taze and Kate? I know they skated around today, but have you heard how they're doing? Are they going to be ready to go for sure? Or what's the deal with them?
The last I heard, Coach Quinville said today that they would both be ready for Game 1. No questions. They will be ready for Game 1. Now, what I've noticed in the past, granted, I'm kind of taking this from my NBA days, but when guys have been out for a week to 2 weeks leading up to the playoffs, and then all of a sudden they're jumping back in at that pace and with that difference of the level of play, if you will.
Oh, yeah.
I think it could be a little, they could each be a little rusty. I could see the wind being a problem for each of them. But either way, you're better with them. You know what I mean? You
Right.
can't ever like question that. The team's better with both of them. So it'll be interesting to see sort of how Coach Q watches their minutes and how he works them in for that first game. But it's going to be a great first round, I think.
Yeah, as a fan, just in general, it's going to be amazing to watch. As a Blackhawks fan, I'm kind of like, I wish we'd got someone else. But, it's going to be a great series.
I totally agree. But when you say that, who else would you have wanted to see?
Yeah, true. Not many options out there.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like they may have caught a break seeing a team that at one point earned themselves this spot, but right now they're not the same team that they were, when they took 3 at the Scotts Trade Center. This is I don't know. I just think it could bode well for the Blackhawks. And I will say this. I think the Hawks know because they've been there before. They're a team that's been there. This isn't like a team that, guys are going to be learning what playoff games are like and they've never been in these atmospheres before. No. These guys know what it's going to take to make another long run.
Yeah.
So I think that also goes really well for them. They've got the experience.
Is it Stanley Cup or bust?
Ooh, that's a hard one.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about it either. we had some tough questions here, Kelly.
What do you think? Do you think fans feel that way? Because I think it is so hard to repeat.
It's impossible almost. So, I could see if they make a run, let's say, to the Western Conference Finals, or whatever they call it. Yeah, Western Conference Finals, and lose in 6 or 7 games. I wouldn't be terribly disappointed. Now, if they play badly in this series and get beaten 5 games, or even get to the Stanley Cup and let's say get like beaten 4 or 5 games, I want to see them really, if they give everything and kind of have a long series and they just get beat, I don't think I'd be that disappointed.
Right. Well, I just listened to, general managers of franchises talk about how making deep runs and doing it consistently and back-to-back especially, and everybody knows this, it's beyond just being good and just winning.
Yeah.
There is a little bit of luck to it. And right now, I feel like the luck may be the fact that they're hitting a team that's, really scratched up. And so maybe that's, but yeah, I just know how hard it is to make that happen in any sport 2 times in a row. So, I don't know if fans would be disappointed though. I mean, I'm with you though. I feel like you gotta just give these guys credit for getting back there, and hopefully I don't see why they wouldn't leave it all out on the ice every night and see what could happen. Yeah. Maybe they do repeat. Who knows? Wouldn't that be something?
It would be exciting. Yeah, definitely. Kelly, tell the people where they can find you on Twitter or anything else you want to plug for our listeners.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, my Twitter handle is KCRU11. And I will be on all of the Comcast Sportsnet broadcasts of the Chicago Cubs, covering them. And then I do their 6:30, 10, and midnight shows throughout the week as well sometimes. So definitely tune in to Comcast Sportsnet when you can. And I know that we didn't get to, but with the Cubs, I also am excited about this series with the Yankees on the Tanaka tomorrow. And that'll be
Have you been brushing up on your Japanese?
Yeah, right? I know. Well, it'll be so fun. He and Hamill, who's been really good for the Cubs, will be going in Game 1. And I think this is a really good, just like the Cardinal series was, but another really good barometer for this team because, they feel like they're right there. So go out and win some of these games, Yeah.
Well, Kelly, thanks for talking. We won't hold you here any longer. It was great to catch up here with you.
Same here. Thanks so much for having me on. Hopefully we can do this again soon, okay?
All right. Thanks, Kelly. Take care. It was Kelly Kroll from Comcast Sportsnet, catching up with all those good old Chicago sports things. So we're going to take a commercial break. We got some spring football here in Illinois to get to, from good old playoff basketball and hockey to spring football. How great is that? This is the Illini Drive here on WPGU 107.1.
Hey guys, this is Erin Andrews, and you're listening to WPGU 107.1.
This past Saturday was the Illinois spring football game. A beautiful day for anything, really, but especially if you want to come out. About 5,000 fans made it out to the Memorial Stadium. See the orange and the blue Officially, the Blue, I believe, won that game. It was 38-7 or whatever it is. They do who cares about spring game? I'm not high on spring games, as you can probably tell. But
the whole campus isn't. I find that interesting because Alabama, Ohio State, they pack these stadiums for these spring games. Illinois fans just don't care. I don't really care either.
Yeah, at the same time, Illinois fans don't pack their stadiums for the games that count either. So,
well, yeah.
But even they don't get, 5,000 compared to even the 40,000 whatever they get.
Plus, you're not 4 games, you're not 5 games under 500 in the spring game.
Right. Yeah, that's true. Either way, the big kind of storyline for this spring for this team has been the quarterback competition. Officially, it's a 3-person race. It's between sophomore transfer Wes Lunt, came from Oklahoma State, played a year there and then set out last year for to the transfer rules. Riley O'Toole, we know him. He's been around for 4 years. Was the backup to Nathan Shieldhouse. And Aaron Bailey, the 4-star recruit from Bolingbrook, Illinois, who...
He's not a recruit anymore. He's a sophomore.
Well, he was a recruit. That was a sophomore. He, as I got some time last year, mostly running in short yardage, just competing for the starting job. The best guy in this spring game was O'Toole, who came out, threw touchdown passes in back-to-back opening the first 2 drives of the game, and looked pretty impressive. What do you make of what O'Toole kind of did?
Weird to say that he's the best guy.
He was
the spring game.
He played the best this spring. Did I say the best guy? I didn't mean to say that. I'm sorry.
Going too far.
O'Toole played the best. He had the best performance on Saturday.
What was funny about the 2 touchdown passes he threw is that it wasn't even to the intended receivers. It was actually 2 guys running in there.
He admitted that after the game. I wouldn't have done that. I would have lied about it.
I was just gonna say if you asked him, he may have said something different. But I guess he's a better guy than us.
Yeah, he is.
That's exactly who I wanted to throw it to. Not that guy over there.
Right.
Yeah.
But he said on the first one that the receivers weren't supposed to be in the same spot. They ran the wrong routes. He's like, I'd like to think he would have caught it if the other guy wasn't there. But and then the second one he said was just the wind blew it to the other guy.
Oh Lord,
it was a really strong wind. There was a strong wind out.
Yeah,
that's still ridiculous. Guys, what does Riley O'Toole bring to this football team?
He brings experience and maturity. He doesn't give a crap that people are writing him off for this competition. He's really handling it well for someone in his position. Everyone's so hyped about Lunt, and even Bailey, there's a lot of hype about him too. He's just kind of letting it all wash over him, not getting caught up in it. And he's, just going about his business, which I like. I respect that about him. I just don't know. I don't know if he's the guy for the team, and I also don't know if fans would be able to stomach hearing, okay, all this buzz for these quarterbacks. And the right guy was here all along, Riley O'Toole. That would be tough to take.
I can only imagine just playing a team like Ohio State next year, and then you have your starting quarterback as O'Toole. Oh my god!
Yeah.
It sounds worse than it is. People don't credit him. He comes in and commits these unfortunate turnovers all season last year. It's like every appearance something bad happens, and a lot of it is just luck. A lot of it's being out of rhythm, and a lot of it is he's not preparing like a starter, and then some of it is he's just not the best. Not a great quarterback, and that's what you like so much about the other 2 guys is all the potential that's there.
O'Toole is a good quarterback, I would say. I'm hesitant to say good, but I think good is a good word to use, and he's a known commodity in the sense that, Lunt comes out and looks bad in the spring game, or not bad, but not the best in the spring game, and we still don't know what Bailey can bring, but, O'Toole is the only one that's really actually played.
Now, Wes Lunt is the favorite to win this job, and personally, I'd be stunned if he does not win. I think that you guys share the same factor as me, is that this is Wes Lunt's job to lose. Barring something major, he's going to take the first snap against Youngstown State.
I really think so. But I don't know. That's what I don't understand about sort of the program handling it the way they have. They've come out with this marketing program, or this marketing ploy of posing it as a competition, and it's open between O'Toole and Bailey and Lunt in equal parts.
I've got a theory about that.
Go for it.
The reason is, what are we all talking about? What's everyone been talking about? This competition. Right. And what are we not talking about? That defense is going to be really bad.
Okay.
It is.
That's just my... That's my theory on it.
One half of the defense gave up 38 points in the spring game.
Hey, the other half gave up 7.
The other half, the other half won, quote unquote. There is a W next to the the blue team for the spring game, which I still don't understand. But
yeah, but everything I've heard from anybody around, from practice to players especially, they all marvel at what Wes Lund does, and they say, you know what, he's made some throws or that I've just gone wow.
Yeah.
Or they say this is the most talented quarterback I've ever been around, and that's why. Yeah, it's all nice, sounds good, competition. He's going to be the guy.
We mentioned that he struggled in the spring game.
Didn't play, yeah. I think it was 6 of 16.
6 of 16 for 99 yards.
But he still threw a beautiful ball. Like, you can just tell by the way that he threw, and I don't know, he's a leader, I think. He'll transition into that role really easily. I really do think it is his job to lose, barring something spectacular. Which brings us to Aaron Bailey, who we haven't touched on.
And the problem is Bailey, just from watching him, he obviously got the orange team, which was probably a good spot for him. It gave him more reps. But Bailey's not ready there just as far as throwing. He can't make all the throws that either of those guys can make.
Right.
Athletically, amazing, obviously.
Yeah. And he was hindered so much by that in the game, where it was
the rules,
two-hand touch whenever he ran the ball.
Yeah, you're not going to take him down with a touch.
No.
So Aaron Bailey, what do you do with him? What do you do?
You try to move him to a different position.
I don't think so. I think you redshirt him.
Okay.
I think so.
Even though he's a sophomore, and I don't know if the mistake is not redshirting him last year. I do think it was good to get him some game experience, but compare it. Look at this guy. He's going to be a sophomore. When Nathan Shieldhouse was entering his sophomore season, eligibility-wise, he had already beaten Robert Griffin III in the Texas Bowl. All that Bailey has done is, done some dink and dunk passing here in little safe formations and ran the ball. He's not prepared. He's not going to be a leader. And him having the same eligibility as Lunt
hurts him a lot.
He's on track to graduate without starting. Unless you redshirt him. Yeah. I kind of made the case, going all the way back to last year, that he should have redshirted. I know why they didn't. They said, hey, we got to have something to generate some excitement. And when he could help. I mean, and he did for a while there as far as getting them short yardage plays. He was good. That being said, can you play him and then redshirt him for this year? I just don't know if that'll go over well. I can't see that happening. I mean,
I see why you're saying it, and I think absolutely, because then you're saying he's going to have a year where then Lund will be gone. And Lund, especially if Lund, let's say if he's this good and goes to the NFL after his junior year, you may have 2 years of Bailey as a starter, something like that. Right. So I'm in favor of that. I just don't know how realistic it'd be.
I think you got to, if you're serious about making this program successful over the long term, you got to bite the bullet.
Well, here's the thing, is the coaching staff in a win-now mentality, though? But so can they afford to say, oh, we'll think about this guy 3 or 4 years in a row, and they say, you know what, we may not be here.
I don't know.
I mean,
isn't that irresponsible, aren't you?
Yeah, it would be, but I'm just saying that's maybe what you may have to look at it that way.
Right.
Yeah.
I think, though, the one thing is, if they are not going to redshirt him, which I would embrace that. If they said, hey, Bailey's you're not going to be started, we want to redshirt you because he doesn't want to change from quarterback. He's kind of made that very clear. You've got to find a way to get him on the field. I mean, he's just too athletic to sit there and be the third string guy. So how do you do that? Because you can't just do the same gimmick as you did last year where you just get him in there and have him run short yardage, because they're going to figure that out like they did last year and just stack the box and stop it. So I'm not sure how to get him on the field without that.
Yeah, it's a problem. He's not. There's no real position for him. You said try and switch in positions.
But there isn't a position for him. You're right. I mean,
that's not what I was going to say.
Well, okay. What are you going to say?
There's not a position for him.
Well, there.
You're not going to put him on a defense. You're not going to do that.
No.
Well, the problem is, I mean, he could still work as a wildcat quarterback / running back, and just be moved around at different spots. The problem is he going to continue to bet? One of the maybe hindrance of this quarterback battle will be he's only going to be doing reps at quarterback, and won't get a chance to do different things because he's still competing for the starting job, essentially. So that could be a problem, that he won't get a chance to be moved around the field really until late.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think it's a good move to put him out there. I think, if you are going to put him out there, you got to do a lot of things with him, and you have to use him enough to make it worth your time.
And that's what I'm saying, that they have to do that.
And I don't think they're ready to do that. I don't even think that that's necessarily a smart move.
Really? I think Bill Cubitt could.
He could, but I think you'd rather have a quarterback for a whole season and have him be your guy. So let's stop talking about this quarterback controversy and let's move to the defense.
There's only so much you can say about it.
I mean, everybody's back.
Yep.
Essentially on the defense.
Except Jonathan Brown, your
who's the
best
leading
player.
tackler.
Houston Bates, also your best lineman.
Right, yeah. Those, like I said, kind of shouldn't gloss those over, but they've got a lot of players back as far as defense, and they're kind of banking on these guys got experience, they got their butt kicked, they're learned. Now what can you do in year 2? Are you guys buying that?
And you have guys like Mason Mannheim coming back, and they also talked a lot about T.J. Neal. I know Tim Banks kind of talks a little bit about him, and I mean, he didn't have a bad first spring game, T.J. Neal, just watching him out there and just him being in the position. I mean, but all in all, the defense is still pretty young, and I mean, I just don't really see standouts, really.
I mean, it's great to talk about the fact that, they got their butts kicked last year and they're going to come back and they have more experience. And yeah, they probably do have more experience, but they weren't good last year. And honestly, they didn't really prove to me that they were going to be good in the spring game. Granted, it's a spring game. So it'd be good to, to have some actual game experience come, August, see a couple games in how they're doing, if it's just talk or if they are actually more experienced, if they have learned something.
Well, I think the thing that we know is they can't be worse.
So they can only be better. That's true.
And that's for the secondary. The linebacking core could be worse without JB. We don't know.
Yeah.
Defensive line also can't be worse.
No.
They were terrible.
Yeah.
Losing Tim Kennard is minor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, they were bad.
Yeah.
And they're going to have... I was kind of making a case that, man, they may have to just start dialing up a lot more blitzes because I don't know really what they can do because they can't really get pressure on the quarter. They had 15 sacks last year, which is nothing, in 12 games. They've got to really struggle to find guys that are playmakers out there.
Right.
And that's forcing turnovers. One positive about the spring game is that they did force 3 total turnovers.
Yeah, guys.
That's from blue and orange.
They intercepted the quarterbacks. They intercepted Lunt twice.
No,
just once.
Intercepted Lund, intercepted Bailey, and they got a fumble on Ferguson.
Okay. Yeah, and that exchange with Bailey Ferguson, which was weird. I don't know what happened. But, it was good to see them. And then D'Angelo took that back for a touchdown, 89-yard interception return. That's a good sign. Because he is the kind of player, I asked him if he knew he was gone when he got it, and he just laughed. Yeah. He's like, oh, yeah. He's the kind of guy who, if he can start making some plays on some balls and get some picks, that could, lead to a big pick six in a big game, in a big situation. Those kind of things matter. And then, you've got a lot of guys that got beat up all last year, and Ernest Thomas moves to the star position, the linebacker safety hybrid, which I think is good because Mike Svatina didn't do a whole lot at that position last year. So I think really you have to see improvement from this unit. Otherwise, Banks is gone. If you give Banks another year, you're saying
I will disagree with that. He just signed to a new contract, didn't you? Are they gonna? I don't think they'd fire him if he does it. They don't improve much.
Well, it depends. It depends on how the defense.
Unless they just unbelievably regress, which I mean, they'll probably be just as bad. It's just hard to say they're gonna significantly regress because they were all really bad. Even if they're just as bad, I think they've committed to saying this continuity crap that they're throwing out there and saying, well, that's better than replacing and getting a new guy, which I think is completely wrong. I mean, I think I'm surprised. I don't know who Banks hoodwinked to get his job back and still be here again this year because I don't see it.
I mean, I was behind giving him the chance for another year. I think he doesn't deserve it, but I think you have to take it on faith that he can eventually get through to these guys. Otherwise, yeah. So I don't know. I think you need to see playmakers develop, and I don't know how you can do that. Dialing up blitzes more. I think that's a good way to start, just to try and something. You
can't sit back and let secondary get picked apart.
They're gonna get Jihad Ward coming in for the fall. He wasn't at the spring game, so he should be a good presence on the line. He was a 3 or 4 star recruit, depending on who you ask.
He's the 4-star. Yeah, well, yeah.
And he's like a 6'7", 300 pounder. So, you know,
He's a big guy.
that's something to look forward to.
Yeah. Going to take a commercial break, one last break here. We're going to talk a little bit about the Bulls and just look forward to the NBA playoffs to get these guys excited. This is the Illini Drive here on WPGU 107.1.
This is Clark Kellogg of CBS Sports, and you are listening to the Illini Drive. Enjoy.
NBA playoffs getting ready to start, so finally basketball in the NBA matters.
Hey, come on.
I had to throw that low blow in there. Had to throw it in there. But as far as the Chicago Bulls, obviously when Derek went down in October, I believe it was, or whenever he went down earlier in the year, if you'd have told me the Bulls would be fighting for a 3 or 4 seed, I'd have probably tried to take some of your money. It's amazing. Obviously, the East is historically bad as well, but it's amazing that the Bulls are here and the fight that they've done. And you can point to really 3 guys in particular. The interesting question posed to us before the show we came up with Thibodeau. Obviously, has been very impactful with this. Who's a most set this up? Who's a more likely award winner? Thibodeau. We know what he's done as far as Coach of the Year. Joakim as Defensive Player of the Year and the best passer of all time, big man of all time, or Taj Gibson as the 6th Man of the Year. Who's more likely to win that respective award for them?
I mean, honestly, to me, it's Noah. Tibbs has some tough competition, especially with with Charlotte being good for the first time in ever, basically.
The Wizards
Define good, though.
Well, I mean, they're going to make the playoffs, and if they didn't have Al Jefferson and someone telling them that they were all right,
Jordan.
Okay. And then I don't know. I don't know 6th Man of the Year as well as I should, but I feel like Gibson might have some strong competition there. But Noah, honestly, is just such an impactful player in every part of the defensive game. He rebounds well. He may not be the best, rim protector, but he's a pretty good rim protector. And he locks down whoever he guards every night, and he gives so much. I just think that it's Noah.
Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. I think the most deserving candidate would be Gibson.
Okay.
He leads the NBA in fourth quarter minutes, which is there's your bench right there. And guys, typically the guys that win 6 Man of the Year are point guards or 2 guards that come off the bench and score. So typically not in the defensive power forward range, but I really think that you can't deny that this guy's taking minutes away from Carlos Boozer, former All-Star, in the fourth quarter because of how great he is on defense, and he's also stepped up his offensive game completely. He's Chicago's best post player, and he's got a Udonis Haslem baseline jumper. He's been huge for the Bulls as a secondary source of energy and also as a prime source of defense. So I think I don't know if he'll win it because of the nature of the 6th Man award, but I think he's more deserving than Noah is of Defensive Player of the Year. Noah's helped the Bulls so much this year with his offense. His defense has been solid, but I don't even think it's the best part of his game.
I'll probably say somebody different out of all of you, kind of just to twist the show a little bit. I'll probably say Coach Tibbs, because this is a coach, man. He could go outside right now and coach some alley ball players and make them good. He lost D Rose twice already, and then just coach this team. This was a team that everybody thought at first was going to bust. This is the Jabari Parker train, which people were saying earlier in the year, bust a season or whatnot. But I mean, he's just impressive how you just coach any guys and just preach that defense. I mean, Jimmy Butler guarding guys like LeBron every night, and he just have some of the toughest challenges every night. And I mean, he goes out there and just plays ball. He may not be the most talented, but he'll get in your face, and those are the type of guys that Tibbs want on his team.
I think Butler's a more deserving Defensive Player of the Year candidate, and I mean that.
The weird thing about Thibodeau is that you could probably give him Coach of the Year every year.
Yeah.
It seems like. I mean, Popovich, is Thibodeau second as far as a guy you take to coach your team right now?
I would take Popovich.
I'm saying Popovich and then Thibodeau is number 2.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Him or Doc Rivers, depending on your talent. If you have, I think Doc Rivers is the best, like Phil Jackson type wrangler of prima donnas.
So, but yeah, top 3. Then those are the top 3 in some kind of order. It's amazing. Quickly too, we'll get into this 4-5 C as far as the Bull, or 3-4 C with the Bulls. Do you have a preference of where you see them getting into?
I'd like to see them match up with the Wizards if possible. I don't think it is possible at this point.
No.
It's becoming less likely. But the Nets, they have so much veteran talent, and they have so much pressure on them to win. And they're such a, I don't know. I feel like the Wizards are more likely to take a first-round exit than the Nets are, just because of the fight. And
Well, it took everything the Bulls had to last season to beat the Nets.
Yeah.
And the Nets are better,
Right.
arguably, this season. So, I mean, I agree with you, Elliot. The Wizards, just because they are probably happy to just be there this season and bow out in the first round.
So if they get 3 seed is where they play the Wizards. Am I right?
yeah.
Yes.
Right.
And the
Unless-
problem, of course, though, with that is now you're looking at a second-round matchup with Miami, which is why I'd prefer to leave Miami as late as possible.
That's true. But I don't know. You could argue either way if the train's going there. So
You're going to
might
have to
as
play
well.
one of them, yeah.
The Bulls have a better chance to play Indiana though, because they over the years they matched up pretty well against them physically as well. I mean, I feel like Indiana's 2 X factors for the playoffs is either I think David West and probably Lance Stevenson. If both of those players have big games, then Indiana's going to be dangerous, given that they obviously been struggling towards the end of the season.
Yeah, you can't overlook the chemistry issues that they've been going through. They've been
Right.
playing like crap. I don't think that makes the Bulls a more viable option, but I think that certainly bumps the Heat back up. I think at the beginning of the year, the Pacers were the better team in the conference, and I think they relinquished that title when they traded Granger and dealt with some chemistry issues after acquiring Evan Turner and Andrew Bynum.
They've just kind of crumbled down the stretch, honestly.
Yeah, it's been ugly.
Yeah.
How far do the Bulls go?
I think that they lose in the second round.
Yes, sir.
I could see that too. No matter who they face in the second round, Miami or Indiana.
But I don't know. I think if they get Indiana, they have a shot. And it depends. There's going to be a few things that break either way. Depends how those go.
They're going to take both of those series 6 or 7 games regardless.
Yeah.
They're not going to leave early.
Well,
I
maybe
guess
5 against Miami.
I would
Yeah.
disagree, yeah.
Well,
Depending.
I'm a Miami fan. I don't think Miami's going to walk the floor with them like that.
They
I don't
did.
think so.
They did last year.
And I don't think they're better than they were last year, though.
Who?
Miami.
Miami not yet.
No.
They're not better than us yet.
But they've still got LeBron. The Bulls have no answer for that. The Bulls have no answer really for any of the other. They can't deal with the talent of there. And say what you want about the regular season, the Bulls always beat the Heat up in the regular season. I just think when you talk about a 7-game series and try to match up, the Bulls have to give it their all to get 1 game. And that's probably all they can really get.
I don't know.
I just-
Joakim Noah is more healthy this year than he
Sure.
has been ever in his career, and he's been like the biggest help for the Bulls
Right.
against Miami. That and Nate Robinson, crazy banking threes in that.
Yeah,
Decide
they
the
don't
game.
have that anymore.
Yeah.
I missed a little Nate.
We're going to thank everybody at UPTV for coming in and filming us here again today. Thank our guest, Kelly Kroll. Again, you can follow us on Twitter at Illini Drive for updates throughout the week. The big the rebrand, whatever they call it, where Nike is up this Wednesday. We'll be tweeting stuff out from that. And again, we're here every Monday from 6 to 7, Illini Drive. We thank you for joining us. Now back to WPGU 1071, Champagne's Alternative. Have a good day, people.